Brown.
Here.
And Commissioner Stepanski.
Here.
Okay. All members of the commission are present and a quorum present. There are no absent members of the commission, and so there's no need to excuse anyone. One moment. Okay. Our next item on the agenda is the invocation. Haven't asked him to do this previously, but I see one of our funeral directors on the call. I'd like to recognize Jay Carnes if he is available to lead the invocation for us.
Sure. Can you hear me?
We can, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Please join me in prayer. Father, we thank you for each commissioner that's given their time to serve. Father, we thank you for our funeral commission as they lead us through this time of joining with the State Anatomical Board. Father, just pray that everything that's discussed today would be your will, and continue to bless this commission in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Mr. Carnes. Now we'll have the reading of the Texas Funeral Service Commission mission statement. The mission statement of the Funeral Service Commission is as follows: to protect the public from deceptive practices in the funeral and death care industry through a process of impartial enforcement, inspection, licensing, and education in order to guarantee every citizen's final disposition is conducted professionally and ethically. We now have on the agenda a period for public comment. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped the Pledge of Allegiance. My apologies. Do you want to display the flags on your screen?
Yes.
Let's just go ahead and if you'll all rise, and we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. I will lead them all from here. If you'll see a flag in your local room, and please honor the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the pledge to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. This is our first experience with virtual meetings, so please, thank you so much for bearing with us on this. Our next item is public comment. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person. And when I recognize you for public comment, please unmute yourself. Everyone who is not being recognized for public comment, to prevent echoes, if you would please mute yourself. And so the floor is open for public comment from any member of the public who wishes to speak on any matter before the commission today. Does anyone wish to speak? And if you do, unmute yourself and state your name for the record. Dr. Jason Altieri, do you wish to speak?
I have no comment at this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone else wish to speak? Jason, if you will mute yourself, that's the reason I recognize you, because you unmuted yourself. If there is anyone else that wishes to speak, please unmute yourself. Hearing none, we will move to the next agenda item, which is the State Anatomical Advisory Committee appointments. I'm going to recognize Vice Chairman Stepanski, who will guide us through the process for appointment of the State Anatomical Advisory Committee. Commissioner Stepanski.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. We were tasked, myself and 2 other commissioners were tasked with the job of going through these applicants, and there was a lot of really great applicants. It was an amazing experience, and I'm excited to share the applicants that we have recommended. So with the Senate Bill 240, we had the advisory committee. We have to have 2 anatomical facility seats, 2 NATO seats, and the NATOs are it's a person accredited to engage in the recovery, receipt, screening, testing, processing, storage, or distribution of tissue or human remains for any other purpose other than transplantation into living individual in Texas. And let me define the anatomical facility also. That's a facility in the state inspected and approved by the commission that does not operate as a will body program or a non-transplant anatomical donation organization. And then also the will body program, which is a program operated at an institution of higher education in the state that allows a living individual to donate the individual's body or anatomical specimen for education or research purposes. And then also, finally, 1 seat for the public member. So I'm just going to open it up to any questions. Does anybody have any questions before I start? If not, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into this. All right, great. So I'm going to start with the anatomical facility. So what I'm going to do is give the names of the 2 applicants that we have recommendations on, and then I'm going to go ahead and open it up to any questions that you guys may have. So the 2 folks that we chose for the anatomical facility seat were Bethany Wright and Cody Lepaski. So I'll go ahead and open it up to any questions that you may have for either myself, and I welcome Commissioner Combes and Commissioner Tips to help me out with that too.
The commissioners, do you have any questions regarding the applicant Cody Lepansky
And Bethany Wright.
and Bethany Wright?
Mr. Appiel, Commissioner Appiel.
Yes, Alan, go ahead.
Well, on both of these, this is going to be my reoccurring theme and questions. It's obvious that they have the experience to sit on our committee and do what?
I don't think anyone said anything. Go ahead, Chairman.
Okay. Yeah. I think what I said a moment ago, what would bring these 2 people to the top of the list here? I'm familiar of the other folks that send in applications to kind of put these 2 people at the top. That would be my general question.
Thank you for that, Chairman. Well, as you stated, that there's, I mean, just an amazing group of folks that applied for this, these positions, and you know, some of the key factors that we used in making these choices were really just knowledge of the program, ethical responsibility, collaboration, and then wanting to choose just a diverse group within the different organizations to make up this committee. So with Bethany Wright, I think she was an excellent fit for that. She was very sharp. We you know, and this is my opinion. Again, I welcome Commissioner Combes and Commissioner Tips to share their opinion as well, but very well versed, lots of experience, funeral director, will body program, anatomical facility, just all around, just a great fit for that individual. Cody Lepaski, same thing. He was very knowledgeable in the with the programs, and very concerned about the general public. In my opinion, I think that was something that really stood out to me as well, is his concern for the general public and to make sure that we get this right. This is a very big deal. At the beginning of this is the foundation. This committee is going to recommend what we do is the commission. So I think that he would be a very valuable asset as well in that position.
I agree, and I echo that. I mean, it was very difficult to do this. We have a lot of great candidates, and make no mistake, we really, really hope to see every single applicant at the table during stakeholders meetings, and narrowing it down to the 2 seats per category and 1 public was difficult. But the applicants were all asked questions that were the same type of question, and so just depending on how they opened up and the information they gave us, and as we put this committee together, how everyone works well together and can kind of lead this committee. Again, we want everybody's voice and everyone to be part of the stakeholders meetings.
Yeah, I will echo every bit of that as well. What's interesting about all of the candidates in this is they bring a common goal to the table as an advisory committee, but they bring a different aspect, which makes it diverse. I think one of the biggest things that I've seen in this, particularly if we're talking about these 2 candidates, is their involvement in what they've done in their careers thus far. But then it always circled back to the ethical part, and that's what we're trying to do here. It's advance SB 2040 while we're protecting the citizens of Texas. And Ms. Wright and Mr. Lepaski both were chosen regarding that. I echo Commissioner Tips and Commissioner Sapansky in their comments as well. So.
This is Commissioner Brown. I appreciate that. Y'all have done more work than I can imagine. Hey, looking at all these applicants, everybody seems to be fairly busy. It doesn't take much to read their applications to realize how busy they are. The applicants that we spoken to, did we address at all the time constraints that would be necessary to do this? And do we feel like they're going to be able to juggle their schedule enough to really take this on?
I will pick up that, because that was a big deal. I think that was a question we all asked at one point, and with every candidate, but they realize the gravity of this, and that goes for everybody that we are discussing today. So, and everybody that is going to be, as Commissioner Tips said, invited and welcome to the table. The time commitment to get this right has been addressed, and I believe everybody is very fully aware. Commissioner Brown, it's a good question.
Absolutely, and I'll echo that too. I mean, we have a diverse group of folks that applied for this, and we have representation from higher education, private sector, industry, doctors, and these folks are engaged. I think they're well aware of the magnitude of what's involved in this. And again, we had a discussion on that as well. So I think that that's not going to be a problem. Do we have any other questions for the anatomical facility seats?
So I note that some of the applicants for the anatomical facility seats are actually present on the call. Do any of the commissioners have any questions of any of the applicants that are on the call currently? I see Ms. Wright on the call. I don't see any other applicant on the call. Does anyone have any questions of Ms. Wright? Oh, there is another page. And there's also some phone, Mr. Maldonado is also on the call on the second page, and I believe there is someone with a 406 number as well. Does any commissioner have any questions of Mr. Maldonado? And just for the reference of the public, the applicants that we have for this position and their affiliations are Cody Lepansky from the Commonwealth Institute of Funeral Services, President, Bethany Wright from National Bioskills Laboratories, National Sales Director at that, Carlos Maldonado from Medtronic, the Education and Training Center Manager, and Carlos Castro from Matrix Training Labs, and he's the CEO of Matrix Training Labs. Those are the applicants for this position. The committee is recommending Pansky and Bethany Wright for the two positions for anatomical facilities. And do the commissioners have any questions of the applicants that are on the call? Hearing none, do the commissioners have any more questions of the committee? So the committee has recommended Bethany Wright and Cody Lepansky. Since it is a committee report, it does not require a second. Is there any further debate regarding the appointment of Bethany Wright and Cody Lepansky as the anatomical facility representatives on the Anatomical Advisory Committee? Hearing none, all in favor of appointing Bethany Wright and Cody Lepansky to the two seats for anatomical facilities on the State Anatomical Advisory Committee, either raise your hand or say aye, and those opposed use the opposite sign, nay. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, Cody Lepansky and Bethany Wright are appointed to those two positions.
Commissioner Opiella, Commissioner
Yes.
Opiella, I'd like to note that in our chat section of there's a question there. Let me see if I can pull it up and I'll read it to you.
I just found the chat. So are we able to know the names of the appointees and their affiliation, what qualifies them as an anatomical facility member and as a NATO? And I did read those out earlier. I read their affiliations, and those are qualified anatomical facilities approved by the commission.
And Mr. Chairman, they are anatomical facilities that glad you said that are approved, that have been approved by the commission.
Okay.
And they're affiliated with those.
Thank you, Mr.
Or whatever, I've been called a lot.
Okay, I'll recognize Vice Chairman Sapansky and for the remaining appointments. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. And we're going to move on to the NATO applicants next. And again, we just kind of laid out some of these factors and what we did throughout all of the applicants, and all of these folks have been really, really great to visit with, but some of them just stood out more than the others. And for the NATO, the two applicants for the NATO seat that we have recommended is Dr. Ali and Dylan Kimsey. And I will open that up for questions.
And Vice Chairman Sapansky, just for everyone's reference, since we're on the call, I'm going to read out the names and the affiliations of all of the applicants. Aaron Ali, MD. He is employed by Med to Market Incorporated. He is a Chief Executive Officer, President, and Co-founder.
And
Lifetree Anatomical,
life, yeah.
as well. He's affiliated with Lifetree Anatomical. Okay, before we continue here, our general counsel has indicated that she cannot hear us, or we can't hear her. So if we can take a pause in this right now, if you don't mind, while we work out that technical difficulty, it's important that we can hear from Ms. Kelly from the Attorney General's office during this. Can we hear you now? We cannot hear you, Ms. Kelly. And I apologize to the members of the public and the commissioners while we work out these technical difficulties. This is our first meeting online, so in this new building. So, and we can still not hear Ms. Kelly.
And I'm not really sure.
Going to stand at ease for a couple of moments while we work out the technical difficulty.
He's gonna try to call him.
Good morning. Can you hear me, Commissioner?
We can hear you, however, there is an echo. So
Okay, I just muted my computer. Is that better?
there is no echo, so go ahead.
Excellent. I just wanted to chime in because I see we're getting some more messages. Since the public comment section has ended, you know, I don't think we're going to be responding to these. Any information about whoever is appointed will be made available, though. So certainly we can follow up with you afterwards. But as far as the meeting goes, since that portion of the agenda has been concluded, it wouldn't be appropriate necessarily to respond to these.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Kelly, for the advice. I will not be viewing the chat at this point in the meeting, and I ask the rest of the commissioners not to view it as well. The public comment is closed. We will come back from at ease now that we have the technical difficulty resolved, and I will continue with the non-anatomical donation organizations. Applicants were Dr. Aaron Ali, Med to Market, and Chief Executive Officer and President there, as well as Lifetree. Stephen, and I'm going to butcher the name, my apologies, Bathji. He's with Science Care Incorporated, Vice President, Tissue Management and Program Director. Dylan Kimsey from Science Care of Texas LLC and Science Care Incorporated, Director Quality Assurance. Those are the three applications that I have in front of me. And I'll go ahead and recognize Commissioner Sapansky again for the recommendation of the committee.
Thank you very much. And we went ahead and recommended Dr. Ali and Dylan Kimsey. Now I'll open it up to questions.
And for the reference of the commissioners, I see Mr. Kimsey on the line as well. If you have any questions of him, and if Dr. Ali or Mr. Batchy are on the line, if you have any questions of them, you may ask them as well. Okay, now, do we have any questions or discussion among the commission members? I'll ask a question. One of the concerns that I have with this new category is how they see their business fitting into the state of Texas. You know, we had a different system before this bill was passed, and I want to make sure that the commissioners who were on the subcommittee thought about that and asked how these, for lack of a better word, for-profit entities fit into the equation now. What was your discussion with regards to that, Commissioner Sapansky?
Absolutely. Thank you for that. We did have that discussion. And again, the folks that we are recommending, for example, Dr. Ali, I think he's very knowledgeable, publicly involved in developing policies and in other areas. But these guys have the big picture. They understand all the different organizations and how these are coming together, and the magnitude and the weight of this committee and what that's going to do for the Texas Funeral Service Commission. So it's, you know, everybody thinks that it's a good thing that they're falling under the commission. I think I speak for both of these applicants that we're recommending, and if they think otherwise, they're welcome to contest that. But they understand the importance of it. They understand that the consumer and the donor are the most important thing. That our mission statement doesn't change. And we made that very well clear, and most of them were already on board with that anyway. So I think that these are people that are gonna choose the consumer first to make sure that Texans are being well served with dignity and respect, and that under this commission there's going to be a little more oversight or eyes on some of these things to make sure that everything is being done correctly. So that's my take on it. I don't know if Commissioner Tips or Combest wants to share anything with that either, but again, these applicants were they understood.
Commissioner Obiala, I think for me, one of the big, to try to answer your question or get to it a little bit, one of the big deals for me was that when we were talking with all of these candidates, part of our discussion individually as we were interviewing, and we asked some of the same questions in different ways, but then our discussion after our interviews were over were very helpful to understand what we need as a Texas Funeral Service Commission to oversee SB 2040. And so I think in saying that, we had to take a really black and white approach to say everybody that is applying has a resume. They have experience in their field, in their different area. But what I wanted to see, and I think the other commissioners did as well, is when we get in a room, we have to be able to bring their expertise and their knowledge to the table to help us propel what we're doing here. And these individuals that we're discussing were that. And at the end of the day, I walked away feeling really good about the process and the questions that we were asked and the considerations among the subcommittee.
And let me,
Commissioners, go ahead, Commissioner.
right, let me just add to that. I was pleasantly surprised that all of these applicants, especially the ones that we have recommended, were all excited and they were in favor of coming under the commission and seeing some great ideas come out of this and policy and really just oversight in this industry and they were, we didn't know coming into it, interviewing these folks, but they were all excited about it. They were all looking forward to having this body overseeing this program. And again, that state anatomical board has been in business for over, and I know we're talking about the NATOs right now, but over 100 years. And so they're coming under our umbrella, and we want, this is foundational right here. We want to make sure that we have a team in place that's going to work together, work well together, and be assertive with their ideas and best practices and what works well and what can be done better, but working well together. Different organizations working well together for the betterment of all Texans and donors. And we again, I was pleasantly surprised to see that the excitement of these folks looking forward to being under the commission.
Commissioner Brown.
Mr. Sapansky, being an industry member of this commission, you said two words that really stood out to me, and dignity and respect were those two words. I don't think that anybody in Texas has a great understanding of NATO unless they're in the industry. And so as you were talking to them, how did you feel about their willingness to bring dignity and respect to the people that are donated to them? Whatever that process is, we have to make sure that's complied with. And how do you feel about the two applicants that you're suggesting with the regards to dignity and respect of the deceased?
Absolutely, and that's a great question. Thank you, Commissioner Brown. And obviously, I'm the public member of the Funeral Service Commission along with Commissioner Opiella, but that was what was important to me. Coming into this, it was like being fed, from a fire hose, not understanding the NATOs, and unless you're in the business, you don't really understand that. So I just had to back out and say, okay, the mission statement doesn't change, right? This is about Texans. This is about donors. This is about making sure that when someone signs up for something, that they know full well, expecting what is going to happen with their body in the future, whether they're going to get something back or not, what are the potentials of the things that could be done to their bodies. There's forensic stuff. There's all kinds of stuff that's happening. And so those were some of the questions. And again, a lot of these folks, they're all for, and I specifically would add, we all would in different ways, about really in the beginning with that communication. How is that communication done with the donor, and what is the paperwork like? Has there been any issues of somebody wanting to back out or not fully understanding what is going to happen to their body? And it doesn't take long to get on the internet and look up some things, and you can see some pretty horrific things that have happened. And so we want to make sure that the Texans are protected in that way. And all of these folks were very knowledgeable about that process in their capacity in other areas. And really, that was important to them. That was important to them to get it right at the very beginning with the paperwork, to make sure that the families understood. And so going through these different applicants, again, with their different processes in place, but they're all really have that one thing in mind is best practices in their industry. I don't want to just be do middle of the road, but be the best in our industry. And I think that these two applicants are that way.
Commissioners, all of, one of the things for me too is when we ultimately get in a room, one of my major questions to every applicant was, I want to understand you as an individual, your demeanor as you have served on other committees. I want you to be honest with me and how you see yourself in your demeanor with the, if you're appointed, and being an advisor to the commission, and everybody took that question seriously. And it seems as though that in our response, everyone will bring different opinions to the table, which I think that's progress with what we're doing, but they're going to be able to work as a unit. So it's a give and take at times. And I think that that's what I got from these candidates. And it's not just these two gentlemen that we're discussing, it's the whole board. So that was a big deal for me as well.
And I echo a lot of the concerns as a commissioner representing the public that we do have dignity and respect with this process, especially when you're moving from a traditional university setting to a setting that includes a number of these organizations. I wanted to ask a question of Ms. Kelly, because I noticed on the application of Mr. Kimsey that his home address is in Arizona. I do understand through reading that he is moving to Texas to manage the science care facility that is located in Texas. But do you know of any prohibition that we would have in appointing a non-resident of Texas to this advisory committee? I don't see anything in the statute.
No.
In general, do we have an issue with that?
No, I'm looking at SB 2040 right now, and I don't see anything that would be prohibitive, especially if he does become a resident. Sorry. But I don't see anything that would prohibit a non-resident from becoming a member.
Okay, I just wanted to flag that and make sure that the commissioners understood that as well, because I noticed that, and I'm sure that you did as well. Is there any other discussion regarding the non-anatomical donation organization representatives on the State Anatomical Advisory Committee?
I have none.
No, we're not in public comment at this time. Dr. Ali, you're only able to answer questions from the commissioners at this point in time. Do the commissioners have any questions of any of the applicants? Commissioner Hepp.
Dr. Ali, with all your education and all your experiences, I would be interested in what is one of the accomplishments that you're really, really proud of?
And
thank you. May I go ahead and answer that, Commissioner?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that question. Look, we've been working hard for the last 12 years here, and all the years being in healthcare itself. It's the dignity and the respect that we spoke about, and it's something we talked about during my application process of making sure that this process is transparent, that the families that do these donations are truly understanding of what's going on and get a very good concept and a good feeling from it, right? That they're doing something that's pretty special here. And so one of the things we've worked on very closely is to really stay tight with these families that donate, let them know the process, let them know what's going on, follow through all the way, send cards, all those kind of things to make sure they understand that this is not an impersonal business, that this is actually something quite sincere to us as physicians and nurses and those of us that learn in these bioskills labs and the NATOs that get these specimens to these sites. So it's quite the feeling when you get gifts from the families themselves telling us how much they felt taken care of, how much they felt that donating their loved ones to science made a great impact for them and for us. So it's one of the accomplishments that we feel great about, that great feedback that we get from these families. And so we'll keep on pushing on that very hard to make sure that they feel comfortable, it's transparent, and it's dignified.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from any of the commissioners of either Dr. Ali or Mr. Kimsey? I believe is also on the line as well.
You know, that was a very good question from Commissioner Heffley. Let's pose the same question to Mr. Kimsey. Some of the accomplishments maybe that you're the most proud of over the years.
Yeah, I would say, something not even in my work, working at a NATO, I've been at Science Fair for just almost the past 10 years. But as soon as I graduated college, I actually went to Guyana in South America to teach secondary school. So it was just a volunteer program that I kind of just, jumped on, applied 2 weeks later, was leaving. So, I had an awesome time there. One thing that, I just always remember is, before we even went, our field director, emailed us of, things we needed to bring. It's a third world country, definitely different, than our normal, pace of life. But one thing that he told us to bring was resilience and flexibility. And, the entire year that I was there, I thought about it, probably daily. And, for the past 15 years, I've kind of always had it in the back of my mind, just making sure that, I'm kind of always thinking about that, being flexible when I need to be. And I definitely think, that's something that, I can take to this committee, being flexible, being able to, kind of hear all sides of the issues to come to, a common stance and conclusion.
Are there any other questions of the applicants? Is there any other discussion regarding the recommendation of the committee?
I'll make a comment.
Chairman Allen.
I'm thankful, after studying these applications that we see the willingness of this group to apply and work with the others. And we see the reoccurring theme among applicants of talking about registration, making rules, enforcing rules, dignity, and that's one of my top priorities of all these applications, that we continue forward with those items. And it's not appears, but it's evident by what they've done and what they're willing to do in the future. So that's refreshing, that they would all come to the table and have different views, but work together to prepare recommendations for us for in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Chairman.
I echo Chairman Allen. This is very important that these organizations work with the existing organizations in the state as we move forward hand in hand in this process. I think that's very important. The nomination of the committee, is there any other debate or questions of the committee regarding the recommendation of the committee? Hearing none, the nominations of the committee, the report of the committee is Dr. Aaron Ali and Dylan Kimsey to be the non-anatomical donation organization representatives on the State Anatomical Advisory. It does not require a second as a committee report. Is there any further debate regarding those nominations of the committee? Hearing none, all in favor of nominating Dylan Kimsey and Dr. Aaron Ali to the State Anatomical Advisory Committee, either raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, Dylan Kimsey and Aaron Ali are nominated to the committee. I'll recognize Vice Chairman Sapansky for further nominations from the committee.
Thank you, sir. All right, well, we will move on to the next one, the public member seat. As you all know, in the beginning, we stated that there's just one seat. After going through this process, it would have been nice if there was two, but we only have one to choose from. The folks were the people that applied were very knowledgeable, quite experienced in their organization and the program. And it was really just great visiting with the public members who put their hat in the ring. Our recommendation, however, it came down to really looking at the overall scope, their understanding, what they know about the program, but also the collaboration. How are they going to work with this committee, right? And it's a public member. So we want to make sure that this is somebody who's understanding of the organizations, but also, again, we want all the committee members to be putting Texans first, but we think that this public member seat is very important in that sense too. Our recommendation was Miss Mary Mena, and I'll open it up to questions.
Just for reference, the applicants were Jason Altieri from Brenham AA Interest and Holdings, Jay Carnes from Carnes Funeral Home, Paul Lake from Century One Consulting Group and the Search One Rescue Team, and Mary Mena from Alamo College's San Antonio College, who's the department chair there. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll agree. Commissioner, you had very good applicants in this area as you have in others. What made Miss Mena stand out above the others? Because all of the resumes are quite impressive.
Absolutely. Great question, Commissioner. And it was tough. Again, all the folks were very knowledgeable. I think what stood out with Miss Mena is she's been teaching. She's a licensed funeral director. She gets it. She understands the industry. She's been teaching for a long time. There's no financial gain there. She's a teacher. She's raising up the next generation of funeral directors. So I think that in her capacity as a public member, I think that she's best positioned, not that the other applicants wouldn't be able to do it, but I think that she was best positioned for that because she's a teacher working at the college, but yet she's also a funeral director. She understands the industry. And I think that she is somebody who would work really, really well with the other members on this committee and to get some really great recommendations passed in the beginning of this stage. This is the foundation of as we said before, of this committee. And I think that she just kind of stood out in that sense.
I have a question of Vice Chairman Stepanski and the committee. I really wish we had more than one public member appointment for this advisory committee, but the legislature has done what the legislature has done. Because like you said, we have a wide variety of interests that are represented from the public member here. My question is specifically with regards to Ms. Mena is, since we have 2 seats for higher education institutions, why did the committee choose to appoint someone or nominate someone from a higher education institution for the public seat when we have those 2 seats that are reserved that we're going to come up with in just a moment?
I think for Miss Mena in particular, she teaches for a community college. Community college is paid for by the taxpayers, and she has been teaching there for more than 25 years and doesn't have a personal interest of any kind, financial gain of any kind, but more so just an overall look at what our mission statement carries in funeral service, and understands how hard we work for people's trust in the funeral industry and wants to see that through as we take these next steps in bringing this whole group under what we all do.
Thank you. Thank you for that perspective. She's more of a customer than a some of the other higher education institutions. Okay.
And I have a comment, sir.
Yes, Chairman Allen.
You're correct. We have other applications that come to the top with teaching experience, industry experience, and I agree on the public members. I would have liked to have seen 2 public members. Then we, would have 1 more seat to bring the other side of the coin in that area. And so I'm thankful for the people that submitted their applications, and I know some of them will be willing to participate in our future stakeholders meeting and, come to the table and give up their time. So I thank them for that.
May I make a comment?
Yes, yes, Kathleen, go ahead.
When I was reading her application, I fell in love with her immediately. Because the first sentence she has there, I believe in following rules. And as a retired school teacher, I believe you have to follow the rules, and they're there for a purpose. And even though I'm a real estate agent now, I still have to follow the rules or the laws, or we would be in trouble. So I like that comment that she made.
Thank you for that, Commissioner. And again, the applicants, we had just amazing applicants, and we just feel like she was the right fit for the beginning, for the foundation of this committee onboarding. And 2 years from now, I think that our needs are going to be much different. And the board may look much different in 2 years from now. But Director White said it, through this whole process, that we expect all of these applicants to be a part of the rulemaking process. They're stakeholders in this industry, and they still have a voice. So it's just, we had to choose, and we only had 1 seat to choose. So.
And I will note, thank you, Vice Chairman Sapansky. I'll note that the rest of, that a number of the applicants are on the line as well. Do any of the commissioners have any questions of any of the applicants for the member position?
Well, let's ask Ms. Mina the same question we asked the others that we recommended. What is one of the accomplishments that you've had that stands out in your memory that you're most proud of?
I think that would have to be probably 7 years ago. The American Board of Funeral Service Education accredits all mortuary schools in the United States. At our last accreditation, we were given an exemplary rating and identified as one of the model mortuary schools in the United States. And so the American Board has rules and standards. And so there is where I think of applying rules and standards, because they keep you in line with what's right, what's moral, and what's ethical. And so for me, that was a proud moment to be recognized by my peers and our accrediting agency as thank you for following the rules and the standards and setting a standard and exemplifying that to the next generation of funeral directors and embalmers that are here. And it's like I tell my students once they graduate, after you take that exam, I am no longer Miss Mena. We are colleagues now. And remember that it's important to follow the rules and set the standards, because client families that we serve, I feel like we're accountable to them, just like in this case for this position, we would be accountable to the citizens of Texas. And that's really what's important to me, is that when we answer, we have to answer with, this is why this decision was made. And you can't look at just what's good for me or what's good for you. It's what's good, what's right, and what is the good to do in this case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Obiala, I have a quick comment regarding Ms. Mena and this seat as well. Look, the applicants across the board, I know the work that some of these individuals have done in their career and respect it tremendously. I thought from the beginning that this seat is one of the most important seats, because it's a 30,000-foot look. You come into it with no agenda other than, what do we need to get done? And are we doing it ethically? Are we doing it by the book? And at the end of the day, I agree. I wish we had more public seats. We don't. And so we were dealt that hand. But I feel like Ms. Mena brings a stable expertise to this advisory committee that can recommend, that can pause, that can be in a room, have conversation, and actually get things done. And I think all the other candidates could do that as well. But at the end of the day, we felt like with the other individuals and their personalities, Ms. Mena fit this position.
Thank you, Commissioner Combest. I share that that view as well. I think she'll represent the public very well on this committee, given the answers that she gave us today and in the application. So I think that's the mindset of protecting the public through following the rules, I think is key. So thank you so much. Are there any other commissioners that have questions of Ms. Mena or any discussion? Commissioner, I thought Commissioner Heffley was going to speak, but no. Okay, hearing none. The report of the committee is to nominate Mary Mena for the public representative on the State Anatomical Advisory Committee. It is a committee report, does not require a second. Any further discussion of the members? Hearing none, all in favor of appointing Mary Mena to the public representative on the State Anatomical Advisory Committee, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? She's unanimously appointed by the commission. I'll now recognize Vice Chairman Sapansky for the last category of applicants for the State Anatomical Advisory Board, the will body programs from higher education institutions.
Yes, sir.
And-
Thank you for that, Commissioner.
Well,
And
So does the commission want me to go through and read all of those names up front, or?
sure, if you want to.
We had Kurt Clark from UT Health. Dr. Carrie Gilbert from Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center. Dr. John Hubbard from Texas A&M University School of Medicine. Dr. Cherie Hughes from Sam Houston State University. Robert Spears from UT Health Houston School of Dentistry. Dr. Daniel Westcott from Texas State University. And Claudia Yellett from University of North Texas Health Science Center in Fort Worth. Go ahead, Commissioner Sapansky. I'm sorry.
Thank you, sir. And just what an outstanding group of folks that you had mentioned right there. Very accomplished in all that they've done. So this was a little bit difficult to choose from, but nonetheless, we had to pick 2 seats, and we chose Dr. Carrie Gilbert and Dr. John Hubbard. And I'll open it up to some questions.
And I believe we have a number of the applicants on the call here today as well. Do the commissioners have any questions of the applicants?
And I'll just share, both of these individuals have been very involved from the beginning, even if you go back when the SAB was sunsetted last session, or not last session, but the session before. So these 2 individuals, obviously, every one of these applicants at the top of their game, but these 2 individuals have been very involved with this process, the legislative process, and really understand the program, all the organizations, and understand the importance of this committee.
Is there any other discussion or debate from the members? I'll ask a question of Dr. Hubbard. As the former chair of the State Anatomical Board prior to the legislation passing, can you give us some perspective as the former chair and leader of that board for quite some time to where you see this committee going?
Yes, sir. And let me preface this by saying that since I have become the chair of the board has stood for dignity, integrity, proper use, proper disposition of all those who donate our bodies. We drew lines in the sand. We held to the existing statute, the existing Texas Administrative Code. We fought many battles. We fought off many salvos, legislative, commercial, public, many times. The bottom line, the interest and the care of our donors and their families was our utmost concern, and it was our mission to see that everyone understood and everyone followed the rules as they currently existed. That being said, we were an unfunded organization since the inception. We did the very best we could. There were things we just could not do. I will say that since this law passed, things have happened because of Mr. White, because of Ms. Hartsfield, the TFSC attorney, that we weren't able to do in the past 4 years. I think moving forward, we're going to be able to do more and more and more. Rules need to be updated. Rules need to be enforced. With this committee, I see absolutely no barriers to getting the rules modernized. And those that don't know, the last revision of the existing statute prior to this year was in 1985. So it's well outdated. The administrative code needs to be updated. Everyone who deals with these donor bodies needs to follow the same rules. And I'm very pleased to say that headway has been made already with the joining of the Anatomical Board and the Funeral Services Commission to bring all interested parties on the same page. And so I'm grateful for the appointment. I will commit to do my very best to continue the path the Anatomical Board laid out in conjunction with the new committee and bring forth new recommendations to the commissioners.
Thank you, Dr. Hubbard. Are there any other questions from commissioners?
I would just like to have a moment for Dr. Gilbert, just to have a comment about and echo some of Dr. Hubbard's sentiments.
Doctor.
Sure. Thank you very much. I'm honored to be recommended and look forward to serving if appointed. But as a member of the State Anatomical Board and representative from the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center, what we do in education, research, and clinical training is paramount. It's the same mission from an educational and training standpoint that many groups on this call have. Ultimately, though, we have been committed to trying to make sure that those activities, while extremely important, don't supersede or outweigh the importance of treating our donors with the utmost respect. I think we've got an excellent opportunity to make some changes, as Dr. Hubbard had indicated. We appreciate the Texas Funeral Services Commission and the structure and the understanding of the death care industry that you have. I think that there's a tremendous amount of cohesion amongst the goals and desires of what the State Anatomical Board was trying to do. The bottom line with a lot of what we were attempting to try to change was that the legislative process wouldn't allow certain changes to take place. And so this, the Funeral Services Commission being over the regulation of this area, supported by this advisory committee that's a mixed group of folks with different perspectives and backgrounds, it creates an opportunity of collaboration that's not really ever existed before. And so my goal would be to work within this committee, should I be appointed, in effort to try to come to the best solutions that support the donors with dignity and respect and their families, and also allow us to move forward with education, research, and clinical training to support the other part of the picture, which is making sure that our healthcare practitioners have the best opportunity to practice their skills and to educate. So I look forward to that possibility and appreciate the consideration of the commission. So.
Thank you, Dr. Gilbert. Are there any other questions from commissioners to the applicants? Is there any further discussion among the commissioners regarding the applicants and the recommendation of the committee? The recommendation of the committee is Dr. John Hubbard and Dr. Carrie Gilbert. Okay, hearing none, the report of the committee is to nominate John Hubbard and Carrie Gilbert to the State Anatomical Advisory Committee. It does not require a second because it is a committee report. Any further debate or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand or say aye to appoint Carrie Gilbert and John Hubbard. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The committee, the commission has appointed Carrie Gilbert, John Hubbard to the State Anatomical Advisory Committee. I think that concludes the number of applicants that we are allotted to appoint by the legislature. Is there any other? Yeah, is there any other commentary by the commissioners regarding this agenda item? And our executive director, James White, would like to say a few words.
Do the commissioners have any other comments about before I transition?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say how appreciative I am of our staff. They did an outstanding job getting us, keeping us in order, keeping us moving, and we were really up against the clock. And we had some, obviously, as everyone has seen today, some amazing applicants. But the staff did an outstanding job. They kept us moving forward, kept us on track and on pace, and I just very appreciate each and every one of you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Vice Chair Suspansky, and on behalf of the entire staff. Matter of fact, on behalf of the entire commission, we had to go through each application ourselves in the office, and this process only highlighted the challenges that are before us, Mr. Chairman. The folks that volunteered to serve Texas, all of them were at the top of their game. And that, you know, looking at the staff in here that's working with us and got us ready for this, shows that we've got to continue stepping up our game because these people are at the top of their game in their respective categories, their profession. And this commission to have the opportunity of medical education, medical research, medical device testing, we believe it's an honor to have the opportunity. And we're going to work with this committee, subcommittee, Mr. Chairman, and all the commissioners. It was just a guy here that just happens to be an old political science professor, just watching the group dynamic was absolutely phenomenal. They were able to evaluate all these folks on an average about 45 minutes of interviews, a lot of discussion after the interview. The regional balance they were able to achieve. I believe we had from South Texas, Central Texas, that type of region, Mr. Chairman. From North Texas, 2 from Southeast Texas, 1 from West Texas. Can't forget our friends out in West Texas. That type of regional balance. You know, at least 3 have some type of connection with postgraduate medical training, medical school training. 4 educators totally. And so I just want to thank you. Okay. And so with that, I will tell all the applicants, some that I call a lot, we're going to be calling you to continue to be involved. And I want to thank our Assistant Attorney General Counsel, Ms. Helen Kelly, for being on with us this morning. Thank you, ma'am. And thank the entire staff. So that's all I have.
Thank you. I really share the what you said about the job that our committee has done. Y'all took a lot of evaluating the large number of applicants that we had for some of these positions, and I wanted to thank Vice Chairman Stepanski, Commissioner Combest, and Commissioner Tips for a great job on the subcommittee. Are there any other comments from commissioners regarding this agenda item? Okay. Our next agenda item is adjourn. So thank you so much for all being here and enduring through this technical challenges that we had. Hopefully we can get through these for future meetings and this new building that we have. So see no other further business. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I want to stay.
Yep.
Okay.
Commissioner Brown has moved to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second. Commissioner Tips.
Commissioner Tips seconds. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor of adjourning? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.